How you doing, everybody? Nick DiVirgilio here, and today's video is how to make a groove in Ableton Live. Now, I don't want to deceive anybody out there because there's way more than one way to make a groove in Ableton Live, but I thought I'd show you a step-by-step way to do a groove from really the very beginning. Okay, so what I did is I have a blank session opened up in Ableton Live over here, and this is what it looks like when you open it up for the first time. These are the default settings. If you're new to Live, it's worth mentioning that there's two views inside of Live, and this is what it looks like. It's called the session view when you first open up the program, and this is what we're going to make our groove in. But I also want to show you that there is this, the arrangement view. The arrangement view is more like your typical DAW a la Pro Tools and things like that. And this is your clip view and or session view, and this is where we're going to make our groove. It is worth mentioning no matter what size of Ableton Live you get, whether it is the intro version, the standard, or the suite, the full-blown suite, you're going to get a ton of instruments, a ton of clips, a ton of samples, effects, all kinds of stuff already in the program. And all of those sounds, clips, effects, and things are what we're going to deal with in making this groove today. The first thing you're going to want to do, no matter what size of Ableton Live you have, is audition the samples and loops and take some time to hear what the software has to offer. In the screen, there is an arrow right over here in the top left, just underneath the word tap. Click that arrow, and that box opens up. There's so much stuff that you're going to do in Ableton Live in that area of the software. You'll see it. It says it here, sounds, drums, instruments, and so on, all the way down. So we're going to pick clips just to start off with here, and you can audition all the clips you have. Now look, I have the suite in my computer here. I'm very spoiled here at Sweetwater. I get to have the full-blown suite, and there's just, I mean, I could be here for days going through all the sounds. Look at all that stuff, and that's just the clips. That's not even the samples. So just click on one, hear what it sounds like. That's a weird one, but it could work. Here's another one. Oh yeah, see what I mean? There's just tons. You can also put in keywords up here and search for certain things. So I can put in the word, say, drums. And all kinds of drum clips open up. There is so much inspiration in this software. Hit one thing and you're going to get going, and next thing you know, you're going to have a song built. One more thing I want to mention before I get started here. Another thing that makes Live so easy to use and so fun to navigate is everything, literally everything, is drag and drop. You can drag things off of your desktop, like a loop or a sample, right into the window, and it'll import automatically. You never have to go up to File and hit Import Audio or anything like that. Drag anything you want onto the software program, and it'll read instantly. So that's what we're going to do here. First thing I want you to do is click on Instruments and then go to Drum Rack. Drag the drum rack over here, and it opens up. Okay, now you have a new instrument. Now what a drum rack is basically an empty drum machine. Live also has fully loaded drum racks all through the software that you can use that's already built with sounds in there. But we're going to start from scratch, a blank drum rack. I have the trusty Roland A800 Pro MIDI controller here in front of me. And as I play keys, you'll notice that the drum rack is lighting up in certain areas. That's just corresponding to a different key on the keyboard. Now let me start putting some sounds into the drum rack. So I'm going to go down to the Samples tab. In order to keep this video short and sweet, I've already auditioned a bunch of sounds and samples and clips for you. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put in kick, thud. That's the name they gave to this specific sound. If you want to audition the sound, just like you always do, just click on it. There's the sound. Pick a note on the keyboard where you want to place the sound. C1. Now all you do, since you can drag and drop everything in this program, take the kick sound, drag it onto C1, and boom, there's your kick drum sound on C1. I want to have a couple different kick drum sounds, so I'm going to take kick thud mix, and then I'm going to put kick thud low, which is this one, and put it right on C sharp 1. Drag it down there. There you go. Now I have two kick drum sounds. And okay, it's a good place to start. So now I'm going to pick out my snare sound. So that's type in snare and leady, which is the type of snare, and there it is. Here's the sound. Okay. So I want to put that right over here on D sharp 1. Drag it down. Now I have a snare sound. Kick, kick, snare. Ooh. Okay, good start, but we need to have a couple of hi-hat sounds to round out this drum set. So again, I clear it out, And since I've already picked out the hi-hat sounds, I'm just going to put hi-hat and chirp. There you go. There's closed and open. So I need to have a closed sound. I'm going to put on F-sharp 1. I'm going to put this closed sound. There you go. And on G-sharp 1, I'm going to put the open sound. Boom. Kick, kick, snare, hi-hat, closed, hi-hat, open. There's my drum set, and this is going to be the base of the groove we're going to make. All right, let's go. All right, let me make some space up here on the window. I'm going to close this arrow, which gives me more space. Now, also, these 4 tracks, MIDI, MIDI, audio, and audio, are default tracks that open up every time you open up a new live set. I don't need any of these things, so I'm going to just get rid of them for now. Clean up some space on my table here. Now I just have the drum rack. Now since I worked on this a little bit before we're making the video, I practiced and I know that I want 100 BPM to be the BPM of this loop, so let me just type that in up here. That is our metronome control right there. And right here, these little 2 dots next to the time signature 4/4 is your metronome. There it is. There's a couple of different ways that you can start recording. Right underneath the word drum rack, you'll see all your clips that are empty right now with record buttons right there. If you hit one of the record buttons, you're going to get a 2-bar countdown, and as soon as the downbeat starts, you can start recording then. But you can also just hit the play button or the space bar, and then hit that record button anytime you want, and you'll start recording from that point. And then I can show you how to edit. So let's do that. As soon as it stops flashing, you're recording. So now I'm recording. Here we go. All right, that's my first little bit. Now you'll notice down here, this is what I just recorded. Those are all the MIDI notes. But you'll also notice that it doesn't start playing until beat 3. If I start from the beginning, nothing happens until beat 3. But that's easily changeable. Up here on the top, the blue line on the top here is your loop marker. The one underneath it is your play marker. See it moving around? It looks like a play button that you normally see. Wherever you have that set is where it'll start playing from. So now when I hit play from the beginning, it's going to start right on beat 3. Oh, but there's a bunch of space on the back end as well. So let's move that loop marker over so it loops the correct amount of time that we want. It's not really in time that well yet, so let's quantize what I just did. Again, super simple. Shortcut here for you, Command A highlights everything that's in the screen. And what you do is you're going to right-click or control-click on the Mac. I don't have a mouse here. I'm using the trackpad for everything, so I hit the button Control, then click, different screen opens up, hit quantize. Now everything should be in time with the settings that I have. All right. And so on. But now that's just the kick and snare. I want to add some hi-hat to that. Right up here in the middle of the screen, right, it says Untitled right here on my session. I haven't titled it yet, but right down here there's a circle. When you hit that circle, that means you can punch in and play stuff over the top of what you already recorded. Let's add some hi-hat. Again, not that well in time because I'm just sort of like being a little bit lazy here right now, but I want to do that on purpose to show you how easy it is to quantize that. Again, Command A, everything, right click, quantize, bam, everything should be in time. All right, there you go. So that's the base of this whole groove we're going to make. Now it's time to add a little bass to the drum groove. Here we go. So again, you have tons of sounds, tons of instruments already inside of Ableton. I've picked out a cool bass sound for you. So under Instruments, then Analog, all kinds of stuff inside there. I know the bass sound I want is bass organ. It's right there. All I have to do is drag it over into this blank area, and it makes a track for me. It's already record enabled too, so here we go. There's the sound. So I'm just going to start the drum groove. I'll hit the record button whenever I feel ready, and then we'll edit the start point after I put in what I want to put in. Let's go. Right. So everything I played is right down here in the bottom section. Those are all the notes. You'll also notice the notes are a little small right now. If you want to make the notes bigger, right here on the left side, you'll see all the different notes, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, and a magnifying tool. If you want to make the MIDI notes bigger so you can see them better, just double click there. MIDI notes double in size. All right. Let's see what I just did. I think that'll work. And now let's quantize it as well, just to make sure it's tight with the drums that I programmed. So again, Command A highlights every note, Control click, quantize. You can also hit Command U as a shortcut for quantize if you want as well. There's a little bit of space left on the back end. I want it to loop around again, right back to bar 1 at 9 here. So if I just drag my loop marker back to beat 9, it'll loop from 1 to 9 automatically. And whatever you have, if there's any notes played past bar 9, it just won't play those. It'll go back to beat 1. You can leave it there. It's no problem. That's the extra note you see that I just highlighted. If you don't want it there, delete it and you're good to go. All right, let's add some more to our groove. So to this point, I've played sounds that come in Ableton Live from the keyboard. But again, there's also a ton of great loops and clips already pre-recorded in here. So let's find one of those and add it to this groove right now. So I'm going to go down to clips. And then again, there's a million clips inside here. I found a really cool conga groove, and it is called Cumbia Conga. And there it is. It comes up right there. It's already at 100 BPM too, so I knew it's going to work quite nicely. Again, all you have to do is drag and drop. I'm going to take the Tumba one, drag it over here, and is now in the groove. Since it's a MIDI clip, you can see all the MIDI notes down here too. You can quantize those, move those around however you want, but this is really cool just the way it is. And here's what it sounds like. So easy to do, and it just added some nice motion to the kick and snare and hi-hat pattern that I put in. Now, in keeping with clips and samples in live, I found a really cool saxophone section clip. I want to play it for you right now, and I think it's going to go great in my groove. So right up here in the search bar, just to make this easier, I'm going to put in brass, smooth, horns. It's right there. Again, you can audition any clip, any sound, any sample by just clicking on it in the window right here. But now I want to put it in my groove, so I'm just going to drag it on over. Let's hear what this sounds like in the groove now. Woo! It's so much fun. You get so much inspiration by just the stuff that they give you in the program. So many sounds. They've really worked hard at giving you some very cool things to work with. Now you can elaborate on that sample as much as you want, add effects and stuff like this. When you open up a brand new live set, there is already a reverb and a delay, a default reverb and delay already in the program. And those get fed by the sends over here. Send A goes to reverb, send B goes to delay. If you want to add some of the default reverb to the clip you just dragged over, just turn up the send. I'm going to solo this saxophone section so you can hear it on its own, and then I'll turn up the send and you can hear a little bit of reverb. Here we go. so I don't need that much reverb, so I'm just going to turn this down about half. Just gives a little bit of space to the saxophone sound. Another little tip and trick here for you before I add the last element to the groove here today is, again, you can drag and morph the screen however you want. All of my tracks over here right now are in different sizes. If you want to make them smaller, just grab the end, make it big as you want, as small as you want. Basically, everything's happening on this one screen, so you got to manipulate the real estate to your advantage so it's clear to you when you're making your music. So again, I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller so everything fits a little nicer. Let's add the last element to the groove here today. Down in samples, in the search, I'm going to type in S-Y-N-T-H synth, observe, approach. This is a very cool sound. I'm going to show you a very cool trick to do with this sound. So first I want to audition it for you so you can hear what we're working with. It's just kind of a long sample, sort of ethereal sort of sound. You might be wondering, how are you going to put this into your groove? Well, check this out. And you can do this with any sample that's long that you put into Ableton. So first, drag it over. It is now in here. Let's hear what it sounds like without doing anything to it. First thing is it's too loud, so I'm going to turn it down. Next thing I notice is that it's the wrong key. So in order to adjust the pitch of this sample, over here in the bottom left, you have all kinds of things you can do to this sample, okay? Transpose is nice and big right here. This particular sample is in the key of G. It says it right here. But what I was playing was in the key of F. So I need to transpose that down 2 half steps, and now it should be in the same key as the bass I'm playing. Much better. It's in the same key as the saxophones and the bass. Here is the trick. First, let me solo this so you can hear it on its own. All right, now follow me here. It's not too hard. Whenever you put in a sample into Live, Live does something called warping, which is basically time stretching and quantizing. Now that's for another video. Just know that that's what it does automatically. Right now, nothing is warped. Now it is. When you see it highlighted in yellow, it's warped. When it's off, it's not warped, okay? So what I want to do is warp this particular sample. When you warp, you have a bunch of different algorithms that Live gives you. Beats, tones, texture, pitch, complex, and complex pro. Now what we're doing here, since this is a long ethereal sample, it's not a drum beat, we're going to keep the algorithm in beats. And this is where the tip and trick comes in. You'll see the word preserve, then trans, and when you hit the trans button, you'll have different options of subdivisions. I'm going to pick sixteenths. Right here, there's an arrow down with some lines going backwards and forwards, and this has something to do with the warping. Just for now, just so you know, I want you to pick the arrow that is just pointing to your right. Hit that one, and then you'll see a number 100 right here. This number you can turn up and down. 100 is the largest number you can have, all the way down to 0. But now check out what happens to the sound when I turn it down from 100. This is the cool part. So what's happening is taking this long ethereal sound that has no transients, no kind of hard hits in it at all, and since you have it on the beats algorithm, it is slicing, it's putting like little tiny slices in that long ethereal sound and basically turning it into an arpeggiator. So now that I did that, hear what it sounds like in this little groove. It's a very cool little thing. And now you can take that and affect it and morph it however you want. So one thing I want to do before we end this video is add a little effect to that arpeggiated sound I just made. Again, everything happens over here in this left window. I'm going to go to Audio Effects. I'm going to go down to the word pedal. So think of this as guitar pedals, different kind of fuzz pedals, distortions, anything like that. Open that up, and there's a very cool one down here called Hot Fuzz. Take that pedal, drag it right on to your track. Then it opens up the effect right down here on the bottom. Let's hear what it sounds like on its own. Again, I'm going to solo this sound so you can hear it with the effect. You heard right there as I turned up the gain that the distortion became more and more and more, and that's just like it would be on any regular guitar pedal. So you just got to find the spot that's pleasant to your ear. There's also EQ settings in here. I'm just going to mess with the sound a tiny bit just to find the spot where I want it to be. I turned down the dry wet signal. That's how much of the distortion signal is going to go into the sound. I put it down to about 20%, so it's just a little bit of it in there. I turned up the treble just a tiny bit so it cuts through the other sounds. You can hear it doing its 16th note arpeggiated thing, and I think that's a good spot. That is pretty darn cool. But the last thing I want to show you before I close out the video today is how to mix it a little bit better. You might be noticing over here, the master fader over here sometimes goes into the red. So that means the sound's a little bit too loud. You're pushing that signal a little bit too much. So now let's just pull down the faders and do a quick little mix of the groove that I just made. You can hear each sound individually and then all together as a whole. First thing I'm going to do is turn everything off except the first kick, snare, and hi-hat sounds. That's a good level. It's not distorting the master fader at all. I think a good thing to add to it now would be the conga track. Then next thing we'll do is the bass. Cool, nice level there. Let's add the saxophones. Cool. I'm going to actually turn the saxophones off, add the arpeggiator, and then we'll put the saxophones back in. Here's how it sounds. That's a nice level. Now let's put the saxophones in. There you go, everybody. How to make a groove inside of Ableton Live. And again, this is only one way to do it. There's 1,000 other ways to make a groove inside of this program. It's so much fun. And again, these are all the sounds that you get when you buy Ableton Live. Not even third-party sounds. They already come with the program, okay? If you want any more information about Ableton or any other Ableton Live product, just contact your Sweetwater sales engineer. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Click right here for more videos just like these, or start at sweetwater.com for all your music instrument and pro audio needs.